Hi ladies, I am jumping on this afternoon, this hot afternoon here in Colorado, to talk to you about PCOS. And so if you suspect that you have PCOS or if you've been diagnosed with this, then this is polycystic ovarian syndrome, what we're talking about today. If you think that you might have PCOS and you're looking for answers, you're looking for reasons for actions that you can take to reduce the symptoms or even reverse the symptoms, and if you would like to conceive in the future, then hang around. So we're going to talk about the core concept of what I teach in the preconception plan, my program, that helps women maximize and amend their fertility, but it's a shift in traditional viewpoint, traditional mindset, and how medicine has been approaching this condition, PCOS. And so this is a new way that has helped so many women. So I'll introduce myself. I'm Crystal Melanson, and I am a functional nutritionist, a natural fertility specialist, and founder of the Preconception Plan. And this is personal for me today because I do have PCOS. I have been diagnosed with that, and it has really played a role in my journey. So I want to talk to you women specifically too that have maybe been in the similar boat or find yourself in a similar situation right now. So if you have been diagnosed or think you have PCOS, then let me know in the comments below. You can type that in and let me know I'm not alone in this. But I'll go more into my story in the future. But the first thing I want to tell you is I understand how difficult this is. Many problems, the difficulties can start young. A lot of times this can start when you are a teenager, when you've gone through puberty. And even though that was over 15 years ago for me, it's still, even in all that time, it's still handled completely the same, which is often hormonal birth control. You're often given the pill. And the problem with that, with birth control and PCOS, is often it can make situations worse. It can make PCOS and hormone imbalances worse, and it doesn't balance hormones. That is a huge myth. So I understand how frustrating that can be when you don't understand your symptoms, or you try to, you want to know why this is happening, and the only answer you are given is, you have PCOS, so take this pill. Which is why so many women go that route, is because they don't know there's other options. They don't know there's other things. Or if weight is particularly a struggle for you, then the answers are only like, well, just lose weight and everything will go away, right? Or for me, it was, oh, you don't get a period? Like, just consider yourself lucky. That must be convenient. Like, no, none of this is okay. But this is such a common scenario. And that after you were given the diagnosis, then the help just kind of stops. There's no real explanation as to why this is happening in the first place, right? And that's sad. We deserve so much better than that. We deserve so much more than to just be brushed off. So it's not a simple answer. It's not a simple answer than that. And there is hope that you can find another way. So in PCOS, the symptoms can look very different on each woman. So one woman might struggle a lot with weight and body hair, and another woman might have low energy and lack of ovulation. For me personally, I had cycles that were 100+ days long with no sign of ovulation. When I was a teen, I had really painful, heavy periods that brought me close to passing out, every time. So the symptoms can look very different in each woman. So what about you? If you have any of these symptoms, what does that look like for you? I'd love it if you'd share that in the comments and let us know. But that's why it's a syndrome, because it can have a large array of different symptoms, and even doctors diagnose it. They have different ways of diagnosing it. That is not always streamlined on diagnosing PCOS, which can cause its own problems in itself because it can be misdiagnosed, not diagnosed at all, or wrongly diagnosed. So when I work with women to help them solve their PCOS, it's critical for me to not focus on this label, but it's to see that woman for her specific situation. What is this to her specifically? So there's so much research and evidence that shows that a natural approach can reverse symptoms of PCOS, that you can get rid of these symptoms. But the main key is to figuring out why that is happening for each woman. And there's definitely a genetic component that goes in there. That is true, but there is a saying with genetics, and that's the genes load the gun, but your environment pulls the trigger, which means that just because you have the genetics, it doesn't mean that they have to always be causing trouble. You can control that. You can turn on genes, you can turn off genes, you can help influence how they are acting up. So one of the experts in PCOS, Dr. Laura Bryden, classifies this condition into 4 main categories. And I'll go over each of those really quickly. So the first one is insulin-resistant PCOS. The second is pill-induced PCOS. The third is inflammatory PCOS. And then the fourth is hidden cause PCOS. So insulin-resistant PCOS is going to be probably what the majority of women, at least to some extent, experience. And this is when your insulin response and also your hormone leptin have resistance to the insulin. And this can happen in your muscles, and this tells your ovaries not to ovulate. So this can trigger hormone imbalances, excess androgen production like testosterone, and lack of ovulation. So insulin resistance PCOS is one of the most common. The second is pill-induced PCOS, and this doesn't necessarily mean the pill, but hormonal contraceptives of some kind. So, there are hormonal IUDs and the shot and implants and things like that. Those are all kind of in this category. But getting off of hormonal contraceptives, I posted something, if you saw, about yesterday, how it can lower your fertility markers for at least 6 or 7 months after going off of the pill. And for women, especially if you are already inclined to have PCOS, this can be even worse and take even longer. And you can have more PCOS-like symptoms going off of contraceptives. And so you really need to support your ovaries and your hormone production and to get them working again and ovulation going again. And then there's inflammatory PCOS, which is, if you don't really fit into one of the first 2 categories, then you can kind of fit into this one, which is environmental toxins and inflammation that are affecting your hormonal and adrenal system. And then the last one is hidden cause PCOS. So if you don't feel like you fit in one of those other 3, you aren't sure, then maybe you're more into hidden cause, which doesn't mean that you don't have answers. It just means you still have to identify it. So you have to identify it, and it's a little bit different, not one of the main things. So that could be something like your diet is not supporting you. Sometimes if people are on like a low nutrition vegan diet, they aren't getting protein, they aren't watching what they're eating, getting nutrition, that can be something. Nutritional deficiencies, thyroid disease, those are some examples that can go in here. So those are the 4 main, and it's really investigating your body, your health history, and looking at you as the whole person that you are, because you are, everything's connected, right? And seeing, maybe if there's one of these categories that you likely fit in. If you think that you fit into one of these categories, then that can give us a starting place, a roadmap, a personal roadmap to help you heal. And so if you think you fit into one of those categories, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear if you think that you fit into one of those. I personally definitely was mostly in the inflammation PCOS, I think. We can kind of go into different categories. They can overlap a little bit, but that was the biggest one for me. So it's not that you're just given another label. This isn't just another label of, oh, you have insulin resistant PCOS. It's information, and we use this information. And you can work through the 4 main steps to heal from that. And I'll briefly go over these. The first one is diet, obviously. So diet, that is the insulin resistance, so helping to solve this, which you can do a lot with your diet. Nutrition, quality nutrition, your macro ratio, so carbs to protein to fats. Do we need to adjust that to fit you? And timing, your meal timing throughout the day. This could be different for different people. I just talked to my ladies in my program last night, and we went over this. One of them, we were talking about really having her eat more square meals and not snack so much, because for her, this would help her goals. So working through those. The second is your gut health. This is huge. So gut bacteria, that's our friend. We want good gut bacteria. And I had infections in my gut. Personally, that was a huge stressor on my body. So figuring out if you have something like that that's triggering your immune system, triggering inflammation. And having bad gut bacteria, this affects how you metabolize hormones. So actually your hormone production and your liver health, which metabolizes hormones. And also your gut health in terms of like, are you going poop? Because that affects it. We get rid of estrogen a lot through our bowels. If you're not going to the bathroom regularly, it's sitting in your gut and you're reabsorbing it. Like that can throw things off. So your gut health is huge. The third one's going to be exercise. So exercising in a way that's supportive to your adrenal system, your thyroid. This helps with your insulin response and help you get to a healthy weight, but doing it in a nourishing way. And then the fourth one is your environment, and that is going to be chemicals, pollutants, pesticides, herbicides, things like that. Body products, what are you putting on your skin? That can affect your hormones. Even EMF, so like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, are you constantly surrounded by that stuff? That can kind of mess up your circadian rhythms, your sleep, which affects your hormones as well. Stress, your relationships. So I know that sounds like a lot, but those are kind of the 4 main categories. And there really is kind of a 5th one, which is your mindset, which goes over all of that as well too. Support, accountability, having that healthy mindset, keeping that positivity, because we know that is huge. That literally affects your body. How is that affecting you? So this is a proven system that can help reverse PCOS and boost fertility. For me, I had to really look into what was causing inflammation. My diet, I had to adjust. My workouts even, I had to change the way I was working out, my stress. I had to get a real grip on this. And when I was able to, I regulated my cycles again. I went from 100 plus days down to 35 days so I could conceive, so that I had my healthy baby boy. And I had energy back. It just can take a little bit of time. And like I said, this is like a huge paradigm shift because it's not what we're given in traditional approaches to PCOS. And we want to make this sustainable because for women with PCOS, it really is a way of life. It's finding out how to work with your body for life, because sustainable changes and learning to tune in to how your body works, listening to it, is what's going to help you heal and prevent things in the future through all different phases of life. Because it's really about being healthy, right? We want to get rid of symptoms, but we want to be healthy. So I know this is a broad overview, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can be broken down into real manageable steps and a system. And at the beginning, I told you I was going to tell you what the cause of PCOS was and what to do about it. So that's what it is. The cause is that it's different for each woman. And I know that can be tough, but you can figure out what that means for you. So what that means for you specifically. You can investigate and look into the underlying causes of your symptoms. Insulin, diet, birth control pills, inflammation, nutritional deficiencies. You can look at those and ask why. Start asking why. Like, why is this happening? what's going on, and listen to your body through that. So, and what you can do about it is working through those steps: diet, gut health, exercise, environment, mindset, to have a specific roadmap laid out to heal, to reverse symptoms. And you just have to be committed. You just have to commit to yourself, your health, your goals. It can, you have to learn about what PCOS means for your body. There's not cookie cutter approaches. And that's where I see women fail so often, is like, this worked for that person, or I'm going to try this thing that, is supposedly going to work for everyone. But it doesn't work that way, because we're all so different. So what is it that's going to work for you, and figuring that out. So do you have PCOS? Let me know. Comment below. Have you begun this journey? Have you had success in this journey? Please let me know your thoughts. If you would like to let me know your specific situation and how you're struggling, if you want to discuss how you can work through these steps, feel free to shoot me a message. Don't hesitate to reach out, and we can talk about it a little bit more in depth on what that would maybe look like for you. But it doesn't have to be an end, right? Like, you can have answers and you can find more, and that's a good thing. There are paths, there are options. So let me know below your thoughts, and I will catch up again with you all soon. All right, have a good day.